If you've been following my channel at all, you know that I have been absolutely obsessed with getting more productive. I started my own life operating system, made my own Notion templates, tried a million different apps. In fact, this whole channel was started because I wanted to explore productivity. So I attended cohort 13 of Building a Second Brain. I read his book, I read millions of other books. I created my daily routine Notion template and planned out exactly what I'm doing when and why I'm doing those things, and even did over 1,000 tasks in 2022 using my Second Brain life operating system. But in this video, I want to tell you that I was wrong. I think I got it all wrong. And the reason for that was because I didn't really understand the fundamentals of productivity. All the books, all the YouTube channels, all the Second Brains that I watched always told me about tips and tricks, told me how I can improve my system by 1%. And starting from a place that I didn't have anything, they were always interesting for me. I always implemented everything and learned a lot through it. But now, after about 2 years being on this journey, what I realized is that productivity is a lot simpler than you think. And it is not about the systems, the routines, the Notion templates, or how good or pretty they look. What it is actually about is how much can you produce for every single unit of input, of time, for example, that you put in, how much can you actually get output? What can you get out of it? And this is the fun part, because we can actually put productivity into a framework with 3 variables, which if we optimize them, then we get an outsized return on our output compared to every single unit of input that we put in. And in this video, this is the formula that I'm going to break down for you, and we're going to talk about every single element of them and how can you optimize them for maximum output, aka being the most productive that you can possibly be. Okay, so what is the productivity formula? In my opinion, the productivity formula is volume times time times leverage. Or in other words, your output is how much you do something times how long you do it for times what are you actually doing. So the volume refers to how much of something you do. This is easy to max out as you have a fixed amount of time per day that you can do it. So everybody has 24 hours, you sleep 8 hours, so the rest of the time that you have per day is the volume that you can dedicate towards something. Now, of course, it doesn't mean that you spend 16 hours, for example, making YouTube videos, but that is your hypothetical max for the output for being the most productive in that area of your life. And this is why creating a daily routine for yourself, even if you don't stick to it every single day, is such a great thing to do. And it's one of those fundamental things that you need to figure out for yourself. If you want to do that, I have a video somewhere on my channel that explains this exact thing, and in fact gives you a Notion template that you can just plug in your times and your activities so you can really understand where is your time being spent on, so that you can maximize your daily routine for increasing the volume of the work that you do for any given task or any given area that you're trying to increase your output in. However, you need to realize that this element of the formula is not the best measure for success or the output that you produce, because every single person actually has a fixed amount of time per day, and you cannot really go past 24 hours focused on one thing. So how much of something you do is important, but what you do and how long you do it for, so your time horizon, is actually even more important. Which brings me to the second element in the formula. The second element of the formula is time. It refers to how long are you committed to doing that one activity. It refers to the time horizon, both in the short term, such as days, and the long terms, such as years. And the longer you're committed to doing that something, for example, learning a skill, the more likelihood of your success. Just consider this. If you increase your time horizon from 1 year for learning a specific skill, let's say like guitar or marketing or sales or making YouTube videos, to 10 years, to 20 years, don't you think that it is inevitable that you will become amazing at that skill? And the reason the time horizon is so important is because it allows you to put in the reps. It allows you to put in the volume that you actually require. So a lot of people obsess crazy amounts about the volume of the work they try to do in one day, but they don't understand that in a long enough time horizon, these days and the amounts of work you do in one day doesn't really matter. What really matters is the macro perspective and how long are you committed to doing that specific activity. So the longer you're committed to doing something, the higher likelihood of your success and the more output you produce. But remember, this requires the character trait of patience and consistency and sticking to something for a long period of time, which is a completely different discussion about character traits, skills, and beliefs, which I want to make a video about later in the future on the channel. So stay tuned for that, leave a like, subscribe to know more. And last but not least, and the most important element of the formula is leverage. Leverage refers to increasing your output ratio, or in other words, getting more output for every single unit of input that you put in. So every single activity you do will always have a fixed duration, which means you can always convert your inputs into time. So for every single unit of time you put into an activity, you need to get an outsized return or an output from the other side. But what you need to understand is that if you do higher leverage activities, you can get more output for every single unit of input that you put in. And in higher leverage activities, the marginal cost, money or time, of doing more of that activity after you have set it up once is virtually zero. So there is no incremental time or money cost to you after you do that activity once. And here's the best part, there are 4 types of leverage that you can use, and I want to explain those for you so you understand how you can increase your activities from lower leverage activities to higher leverage activities. So the first type of leverage is collaboration. It refers to the skill of influencing others people's behavior at scale, but it requires permission, which means if you want to influence someone to do something for you, you need to learn the skill of sales, persuasion, hiring, etc. So those skills and spending time on those activities will always give you an outsized return, because then you can get other people to do something for you rather than you doing them yourself. The second type of leverage is capital, which refers to the skill of raising, allocating, and multiplying money. This also requires permission from other people, but an example of it could be like trading or investing or learning those skills. Third type, which is what I'm doing, is content, and it is the skill to capture and multiply attention. And in the world that we are right now, where attention is the highest currency, even more than oil and gold, learning this skill and doing higher leverage types of activities such as this one is amazing. And the best part is, it is permissionless, which means I can sit at any point in my time and if I want, create a video and publish it on the web. An example of this is these sort of videos, blog posts, Twitter posts, etc. And the best part is, once I create this video once, I don't need to worry about it ever again. In fact, the first video I made on my channel is still getting views, is still getting likes, is still making money for the channel. And this is why the creator economy is taking over, because the type of activity they do, which is content, is extremely high in leverage, which means there is no marginal cost in time or money after they do it. And last but not least, the fourth type of leverage that we have, which is the highest type of leverage actually, is called code. And the skill refers to returning time to others at no cost to yourself at scale. This is what most applications do. It also doesn't require permission from anyone else, and that's why SaaS companies, software as service companies, have taken over in the past few years. Companies such as Notion, which literally return time to you and me at no marginal cost to them, because they have written the code once, it works, and they can send it to everybody around the world at scale at no marginal cost for them. So as you can see, the goal is to replace your low leverage activities with high leverage activities, so you can literally buy back your time. And due to the nature of high leverage activities, they actually compound onto themselves a lot faster than low leverage activities. So going back to the formula, you see why leverage is the most important element of it. It is the element, it is the thing that you need to focus on. So it really doesn't matter how productive you are, how long your time horizon is, if you're doing the wrong activities. So you really need to figure out what those high leverage activities are and replace your low leverage activities with them. Examples of high leverage activities could be monitoring new employees, building and automating repetitive work, investing in learning, pushing back on meetings without an agenda, etc, etc. And to really make you understand why this element is so powerful, let's look at AI real quickly. As you can see, AI is taking over the world. Everybody is talking about it. ChatGPT gets 1 million users in half a time. Everybody is talking about how AI is their low-cost intern, etc., etc. Do you know why is that? It is because ChatGPT and AI tools like this are an interface for code. They are an interface for the highest type of leverage that exists, which is code. So instead of you doing the low leverage activity of editing, formatting, summarizing some text, ChatGPT can do it in split second for you. Why? Because you are actually using the user interface of the chatbot and leveraging against the code that, for example, OpenAI has written. And that's why focusing on content and code, which are the two highest types of leverage, will change your life. So seriously, look at your own calendar, look at your own to-do list, and see how can you replace some tasks with higher leverage activities. To quickly wrap this video up, let's look at every single element and what you need to do right now to change your life and be more productive. For the volume, you need to increase it, which means you need to fix your routines, fix your habits so you can get more volume in, so directly increasing your output. Most people underestimate the amount of work it requires to get a job done, so increasing your volume and really estimating the volume an activity needs to become good at it or to get an output from it is the best thing you can do right now. Second, time. Increase your time horizon. Think longer term and commit to your one thing for a much longer time period, because it allows you to indirectly put in a lot more volume, which it means it increases your output inevitably. And last but not least, and most importantly, leverage. Do higher leverage work. The higher leverage work you do, the more output for every single unit of input, which literally means you can buy back your time for yourself. So the volume is just half of the equation. The quality of the work you do is also important, so do better work. As you can see, this is the fundamentals of productivity. So if you literally optimize these 3 different elements, I guarantee you will be a lot more productive, a lot more than you can even imagine. I will make a video about types of leverage again in the future with a lot more examples, because I know it is a difficult concept to grasp the first time you hear about it. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe so the algorithm pushes this video to other people so they can actually see the fundamentals of productivity and not just mess about with tips and tricks and apps and stuff like that. And if you want to create your own daily routine and increase the volume of work that you can do, watch this video next, because it tells you exactly how to do that.